The bar smelled like spilled beer, leather, and months of loud stories. It was the kind of place where uniforms weren't worn, but spoken through scars, posture, and the way eyes scanned exits without thinking. Friday night. Music low, laughter high, and the usual. Then the door opened. She stepped in quietly. No dramatic entrance, no swagger. Just a steady walk. Boots worn not from fashion but from years of sand, steel decks, and tarmac. Her hair was pulled back, jacket plain, expression unreadable. The seals at the corner table noticed instantly, not because she demanded attention, but because real operators always sensed another presence in the room. Not threat, just someone who didn't quite belong to the everyday world. Still, assumptions were powerful things. "Hey, sweetheart," one smirked, raising his bottle. "This place is for the teams. Yoga studios 2 blocks down." A couple of the others chuckled. The bartender looked up, exhaled like he already knew this was about to go sideways. She didn't flinch, didn't glare, just nodded politely and took a seat at the bar. "Water, please." Her voice was steady, calm. That only made them more curious, and cocky. Another SEAL leaned back, eyeing her. "Water? You driving or just scared to keep up?" She glanced at him, offered a polite half-smile. "Never been scared of much," he snorted. Cute confidence. "You Navy?" She paused, just a breath, then shrugged. "Something like that." They smelled mystery and mistook it for weakness. "We do real work," the tallest one said, tapping his trident tattoo like a badge of pride. Not office stuff. A few heads turned. Even the jukebox seemed to quiet. She simply sipped her water and let them talk. Let them brag about missions they never fully described. Ops half-remembered. Battles half-inflated. She didn't contradict them. Didn't join in. Didn't sell herself. Real ones didn't need to. It was only when someone pushing past her jostled her arm that her sleeve slid up. Just enough. And the room changed. The closest SEAL froze mid-sentence. His eyes locked on her wrist, the trident inked sharp and unmistakable. Not the common version. This one was worn, slightly faded, the kind earned long before they ever knew her name. But above it, small indentations. Scar tissue, blood pin scars, proof no one could fake. Proof she'd earned it the way they did, the painful, old-school way. Silence swallowed the laughter like a wave sucking air before a storm hits. The tallest SEAL stood slowly. Voice stripped of ego, ma'am. Every other SEAL rose too. Instinct, respect, disbelief mixing with adrenaline and confusion. She rolled her sleeve back down calmly, as if nothing extraordinary happened. Removed a coin from her pocket, heavy, dark, edges worn, and placed it on the bar. The bartender's eyebrows shot up. A task force coin. The kind few ever saw outside secure rooms. One SEAL's voice cracked. "There's no record of women." She looked at him. Not harsh, not arrogant, just steady. Not everything makes the news, they swallowed hard. All of them. The bar wasn't loud anymore. It felt like a briefing room seconds before deployment. Tight air, heartbeat heavy, reality sharper than before. She finished her water, dropped enough cash to cover the table's tab, and stood. "Enjoy your night, gentlemen." Not a hint of mockery, just respect given back even when it wasn't offered first. Then she walked out. Door closed softly. But it hit like a thunderclap. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Finally, one whispered, "Who was she?" The bartender wiped a glass slowly. Someone who earned silence. That's all you need to know. The SEAL sat back down. Humbled, quiet. Because legends don't brag. They walk in, walk out, and leave men who thought they'd seen everything speechless in their wake. Years before that bar door ever opened, she stood barefoot in freezing Pacific water, sand grinding into her skin, muscles shaking, lungs begging mercy. Coronado, Bud S. Hell Week. Not the version people joked about online, the real one. The one that stripped men to bone and soul. When she arrived, whispers spread like wildfire. A woman. Here, PR stunt. She won't last an hour. Even the instructors didn't bother hiding doubt. They didn't need to. The ocean would do it for them. Day 1. She lost 80% of the class. Day 2. Her lungs bled salt and grit. By night 3, Hallucinations crawled through every tired mind. Shadows in the surf, voices in the wind. A classmate muttered, "Delirious, why are you still standing?" She stared at the black horizon. "I didn't come to try. I came to finish," and she did. Not with brute strength, but with something colder, harder, quieter, resolve sharp enough to cut bone. When she earned the trident, there were no cameras, no article, no ceremony with proud speeches. It was 2 a.m., fluorescent light hum, concrete walls. A senior chief stood in front of her with a pin and eyes that had seen every version of hell. "You understand?" he said quietly. "No record? No press. You don't exist," she nodded. "I'm not here to be known." He pressed the pin into her chest. Hard, blood welled. Ran warm down her shirt, but her face didn't move, not even a flinch. He held her gaze. "That's why you earned it." Her path didn't go to a regular team. She was pulled before graduation rings dried, a nameless room, no insignia, no flags, just clipped voices and files none of them should have had. You operate alone most of the time. No official record, no medals. "If you fall, we never knew you," she breathed once, calm. "And the missions?" A man in uniform slid photos across the table. Hostages, insurgents, coordinates that didn't show up on any map. You go where no one else can get in, and where no one else can deny going. She didn't hesitate. "When do I start?" She vanished from rosters. Her family thought she shipped to a training command. Her old classmates never saw her again. And for years, she became a rumor, a whisper in intelligence corridors, a ghost signature on comm logs, a blurry silhouette exiting places Americans were never supposed to be. Her victories? Buried under denied involvement. Her scars? Earned in places that don't officially exist. But legends don't need medals. They need truth. And truth sat silent, inside her like a locked box. Then one day she walked into a bar, not to be noticed, not to be thanked, just to breathe regular air again, to feel something human. And even there, humility wrapped around her like armor, until her past slipped out from beneath her sleeve, until silence paid her the respect she'd never asked for. Some heroes raise flags, some raise hell. She raised neither. She just showed up, survived hell, and walked back into the world quietly, the way real warriors do. It was never one mission that made her a myth. It was the mission no one ever got to finish. Except her. Middle East. No name. No stamp, no rescue window. A covert task unit had gone dark, 6 elite operators, ambushed in a canyon where GPS died and comms were eaten by the mountains. Spec Ops nightmare scenario. A scrambled whisper came through one secure channel. Broken, desperate, they know we're here. They're coming. If this is it, then silence. The world never heard it. The Pentagon did. And panic lived behind poker faces. They needed someone who could move unseen. Think like a hunter, disappear like smoke. Someone who was officially nobody. They sent her no backup, no extraction schedule, just coordinates, a combat knife, suppressed carbine, and a single order: bring them home, Mud, or make sure nobody can claim them. Cold order, colder purpose. Legend says she walked into that valley at dusk and didn't radio for 4 days. No drone feed, no satellite. Locked, just black wilderness and the kind of men who vanish other men. On the 5th morning, the comms room buzzed. One heartbeat of static, then a voice. Package secured. 7 hostiles neutralized. Moving to exfil. 7, but they'd only counted 6 operators missing. That 7th? Rumor says he was the one who betrayed them. Rumor says she knew before she even left the U.S. Rumor says she didn't report how he died, only that the job was complete. Helos flew in low. Blades cutting dawn, crew expected bodies. Instead, they found 6 battered men leaning on each other, breathing hard. Alive, and her and quiet, clothes torn, dust on her face, blood not all hers. A medic reached to help her. She brushed his hand away gently. Standing hurt, but she stood anyway. No weakness allowed. One rescued operator tried to speak. Voice cracked. She came out of nowhere. She shook her head once, the silent command. No stories. No glory. Then she walked past them, boarding a different bird. No hugs, no applause, just an operator leaving another battlefield behind. The pilot asked, low voice, curious despite himself. UCIA. Her eyes stayed forward. Just someone who does the quiet work, he never asked again. People in the intelligence, Halls whispered after that. Nameless specter, a shadow the enemy feared before. Knowing she existed after that mission, she didn't show up on tasking rosters, didn't appear in briefings, didn't sign in at bases. Some say she retired. Some say she was assigned to something. Deeper, some say she never left the shadows at all, and years later, when she walked into that bar, she wasn't looking for recognition. She was just looking for a place where the world wasn't heavy. But legends don't get normal nights. Even sitting at a bar stool, she carried entire wars in silence. Some warriors brag, some warriors break. She simply endured. They waited almost an hour after she left. No one spoke. Much and the bar still felt haunted by her presence. Some encounters don't leave quietly. Finally, curiosity, or ego, cracked one of them. The youngest SEAL, still riding the high of his recent trident, leaned forward. Guys, what if she wasn't real? Older operator shook his head. She was real. But what if she just did some classified support unit, not... The bartender cut him off with a look, the kind of look that knows more than it says. She wasn't support. He walked away. Silence again. Then that young SEAL made a mistake, the kind every elite operator is warned never to make. He pulled out his secure device. Not a phone. The other one. The encrypted one. Typed quietly, slowly. Query. Personnel file. Female. Navy Spec Ops. Trident qualification. A name. He didn't have one. But he entered physical description, scars, estimated timeline. He hit enter. The screen paused. Loading. Searching. Then, access violation. Classified clearance required logged. Alerting command authority. His blood ran cold. Before he could lock the device, another message flashed. Do not search this operator again. Another followed. Faster. If contact occurs again, report in person. No digital trail. Final line. In red, she is not to be approached. The device shut itself into black security mode. Screen dead. System rebooted into isolation protocol. The young SEAL stared at it like it had bitten him. What the hell was that? He whispered. The oldest operator didn't look surprised. Just tired in a way only people who've seen ghosts in daylight can be. You don't look for people like her, he said quietly. They let you see them. Or they don't exist at all. Someone swallowed hard. Another guy whispered. So she's black program? No. The oldest SEAL shook his head. She's deeper. She's the kind of asset you classify above black programs. The youngest swallowed, voice shaking. Then why was she here? The senior SEAL stared at the door she'd walked out of, like he was replaying her calm walk. The way shadows don't need noise to move. Because sometimes, he said softly, even ghosts need to feel human for a... Well, no one touched their drinks anymore. They didn't talk about bravery or ego or kills after that. They just sat, suddenly, aware of how small the loudest man in the room can feel when he meets someone who earned silence the hard way. Outside, streetlights flickered over empty sidewalks. Somewhere in the distance, a helicopter rumbled, and every SEAL in that bar knew, without needing proof, she wasn't. Gone. Ghosts don't disappear, they watch, and they return only when needed. 2 nights after the bar incident, she sat alone in a corner booth at a diner off base. Plain clothes, hood up, hands wrapped around a cup of black coffee. It was late, always late. Quiet hours were the only hours she trusted. No, one looked at her. And that was the point. The bell above the door chimed. Boots stepped in, confident, but tired, not bar loud, not cocky. A man walked toward her table slowly. He stopped 2 feet away. She lifted her eyes and froze just a fraction. Only someone who'd lived in silence could notice the microscopic shift. He was older now. Beard grown. Shoulders heavier from years he never wanted to carry. A scar cut across his jaw. One she remembered stitching in the dirt with shaking hands and no time. He spoke soft, like he wasn't sure sound belonged near her. Ma'am, she didn't react, not yet. Silence was safer than memory, he swallowed. You won't remember me. Her gaze didn't move. Memory was dangerous, but it was there, coiled tight behind her eyes. That canyon, he continued quietly. 5 years ago, you dragged me through the river when I couldn't stand. A muscle in her jaw twitched. Not weakness. Recognition. You told me to shut up and breathe. He gave a small, almost broken laugh. I thought you were a hallucination until the bird landed. She looked down at her coffee. Shouldn't talk about that. He nodded. Respectful, I know. He took a breath, not rushed, not dramatic, just a man who'd needed to say something for years. I came to say thank you. Her fingers tightened around the cup. Not visible to most, but to him, it was everything. You're here, she said softly. That's thanks enough. He shook his head. No, breathing isn't gratitude. It's consequence. This, he motioned to the empty seat across from her, is gratitude. She didn't invite, didn't agree, just didn't stop him when he sat. They sat in silence for a long time. She wasn't uncomfortable, just confused by something she hadn't felt in years. Being seen without being exposed. Finally, he spoke again. When they pulled us out, one of the guys asked the pilot who you were. He smiled faintly. Pilot just said, "Wrong question." Her lips lifted 0.5 millimeter, the closest she ever came to a smile. He leaned forward, voice lower. I don't know your name. I won't ask, but if you ever need someone to stand beside you, he tapped his chest. I'll answer. Her eyes narrowed, not in threat, in disbelief. Why? She asked. He didn't hesitate. Because Ghost saved my life. The least I can do is show up when one needs the living. She stared at him quiet, still. No dramatic music, no trembling hands, just a silent shift in the air. The kind that changes doorways in the soul. Finally, she whispered, You won't hear from me. He nodded. I know. He stood, placed a folded note on the table, a contact, a promise, a bridge she would likely never cross. As he turned, she spoke, almost imperceptible. Thank you. He froze, because that was rarer than medals, rarer than missions, rarer than survival. He nodded once and walked out. The bell chimed again. Silence returned. She stared at the empty seat like it was a battlefield. She didn't expect to survive, because the quiet truth was, this ghosts don't fear bullets. They fear remembering they used to be human, and tonight, humanity sat across from her, and didn't break her silence. It honored it. 13 a.m. The hour when the world holds its breath, when memories get loud and the living feel closest to the dead. Her apartment was small, quiet, stripped of comfort, bed perfectly made despite the fact she rarely slept in it. She sat on the floor, back against the wall, cleaning the same knife for the 3rd time, not because it needed cleaning, but because she needed motion to outrun thought. A soft click disturbed the silence, not a knock, not footsteps, a lock cycling from the inside. Her body moved. Before her mind finished reacting, hand sliding to the holster under the table, breath slowing, pulse steadying into trained calm, the door opened. He walked in like he owned the dark, a man in a suit too plain to be civilian, too confident to fear death. He didn't draw a weapon. He didn't need to. He was the kind of man who never knocked and never asked, only ordered. She didn't raise the gun. Not yet. She just spoke. Voice low. You shouldn't be here. He closed the door gently. That's what they always tell me. His tone was smooth. Too smooth. Government smooth. She didn't move. Whatever you think you need, choose someone else. He studied her like a specimen, like she was both asset and threat. That's the problem, he said calmly. There is no one else. A muscle in her jaw tightened. He stepped closer, slowly, deliberately, unafraid of the gun she still hadn't shown him. We let you disappear. We let the world forget. That was the deal. She said nothing. But you were seen. His eyes locked onto hers. You walked into a bar full of operators. You let your sleeve slip. You let a coin hit the counter. Her voice didn't rise. My life is mine. He almost smiled. Pity, not amusement. No, it never was. You were never retired, just dormant. She shifted her grip on the gun. You break into my home at 2 a.m. to remind me who owns me. He leaned forward slightly, not a threat, but a truth given form. We don't own you. We just know the world collapses if you don't do your job. Silence pressed the walls. He placed a sealed black envelope on her table. Unmarked. Heavier than paper had any right to be. Open it, he said. She didn't. You owe us nothing, he said softly, but you owe the world everything. A beat. Then, another. I didn't save those men for you, she said. I know. His eyes softened. For the first time. You saved them because you don't know how to. Stop saving people. She hated that truth. He stepped back toward the door. It's a name inside that envelope. Her. Knuckles whitened around the grip. Target? His voice lowered, grave and heavy. No. Someone only you can save. He paused in the doorway. Oh. And your clearance? It reactivated the second you touched that trigger. Then he left. No door slam. Just absence. Colder than presence. She sat still for a full minute. The night felt heavier, her breathing slower, her pulse steady but harder. Finally, she holstered the gun. Reaching out was slow, not fear, but acceptance unraveling in real time. Her fingers touched the envelope. Quiet breath, eyes sharp. A predator ready again. Ghosts don't retire. They just wait. And tonight, the past didn't knock, it let itself in. She opened the envelope. The story didn't end. It started again.